One of those guilty pleasures of entertainment is the public's fixation with media and murder. Although met with controversy about their perceived depraved content and its effect on crime and the impressionable public, crime dramas have seen general success for the last few decades on television in Britain and North America. These shows have the sensational flair for the grittier tones of the human psyche. As the public's appetite for the macabre grows, so does the expansive list of shows about crime or the undead wreaking havoc on society and humanity as we know it. Weekly installments of these PennyBlood dramas were the equivalent of not only the scripted, nail-biting crime television, but the serialized true crime documentaries that garner millions of viewers per episode that many working people around the world may dub as a guilty pleasure today. But where there is success, there is controversy. In 1954, after the special television drama 1984, based on George Orwell's novel, was broadcasted live, political and public opinions were inflamed about the effects of voyeuristic violence. Amendments and debates were held at the parliamental level, discussing the BBC's recent programming and its subject matter being of the pandering nature to less reputable desires of the public. Despite political debate, the BBC pushed forward and held a second performance of 1984. It reached a public audience of 7 million viewers, the largest television audience in the UK since the previous year's coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. Similarly, in the 19th century, the general English public was enthralled with their newest print phenomena. PennyBloods were circulating across the nation with at least 100 publishers distributing their own various contents. Given the mass of publications finding rising success with PennyBloods, writers and publishers alike seemed to strike up a competition for the most salacious, attention-grabbing illustrations, titles, and of course, the stories themselves. Readers were hooked, shelling out a few shillings every week for their fast literary fix. This popularity, this stronghold on the youth and working class of England, was of course noticed by many, including lawmakers and outspoken journalists and writers that abhorred the content and nature of PennyBloods. PennyBloods were subsequently pinned as the cause for the deterioration of the British public, especially when it came to the youth. Many commentators, clergymen, lawyers, and even other press houses and authors publicly deemed PennyBloods as second-rate writing and pinned them as responsible for the moral decline of the working-class population. The spread of this so-called moral panic eventually led to the raiding of publishing offices of PennyBloods under law. In 1857, the Parliament passed what would be the first in a series of laws under the name of Obscene Publications Act. Ironically, this law was strongly opposed by both houses of Parliament at the time, but was passed because of the presiding Lord Chief Justice's promise that it would not focus strictly on the pornography trade, but more so exclusively to works written for the single purpose of corrupting the morals of youth. Publishers and press stand owners carrying certain penny dreadfuls were arrested and tried under the Obscene Publications Act of 1857, citing that they were distributing, selling, or circulating obscene libel. Police officers entered publication offices with a warrant to search and seize the offending materials and anything involved with them. But the public's mass consumption of this Victorian media continued, unparalleled when it came to print literature at the time, thus leading to the widespread concern about its lasting effects on the youth and the working class, mostly voiced by people who were of neither category. These fantastical and many times dismal stories were a culmination of truth and fantasy. They were the manifestation of the pleasures of the hidden underbelly of British society. And although readership had soared into the hundreds of thousands every week, there was still major public outrage about the consumption of said literature. But was it truly the literature's content that sparked the morally upright to rise up in indignation? Or was it the platform it created for itself among the newly literate and educated that scared the upper class into action? Did they truly feel concerned that penny dreadfuls were corrupting the general working masses and youth? Or were they frightened that their secret titillations were being exposed to the very people they spent generations proving they were so different from?